Gaza would also want to say thank you as well. So thanks from them as well.
Oh, brilliant, Kate. As I say, thanks very much for coming on and sharing your story and giving us a wee bit of insight. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Perfect. Okay, well, that's absolutely my pleasure.
Thanks very much, Kate. Thank you.
All right then.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye. There you go. It's great to see something like that come together, isn't it?
Yeah.
And actually, do some good. This was the sad thing is that we still got to face humanitarian crisis like this in 2014.
I know.
And that's, I would have thought the world would have come on quite considerably. It was in the time when I was born to now, but But God bless those people. People get out there and get working in Palestine. That can't be easy. One, from a security sense, and two, from what you're going to see and what you're going to be up against in terms of providing aid for people.
I know.
Yeah. Brilliant. And definitely we'll do something again.
Yeah. Sure.
Cool. What are we talking about then? We were giving it a Ronnie Dale a minute ago.
I'm getting an echo for myself. Can you hear it, Joe? Is it all right?
No, I'm not getting anything.
All right.
No, it's fine, huh?
Okay.
Ronnie Dale says he's dying to get his first firm. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. His first sort of
Glasgow Derby.
Could you give his first? He's had a Glasgow Derby. He hasn't. No, my apologies. He hasn't.
No.
So it'll be the first encounter with Sevco anyway. But will Ronnie Dale get there? Is the question in terms of
And why is he talking about it when we're not even in the position to play it yet?
But then again,
we've got a game on Wednesday to win first. You know what I mean? And he's already talking about who we could play in the next round. It's just that's not going to inspire hearts or anything like
that. But is that the is there some sort of puppetry going on there again? In terms of the background, in terms of being told to talk up this game. You know what I mean? Because they will fucking bite your hand off for that game. If they can make it happen. If they got to fucking deny 6 Stonewall penalties, they'll fucking do it. You know what I mean? Just like that, because I think that would reignite the flame of we need a strong Rangers in the Premier League, and then all the other shit would just go away. You know what I mean? They want a reason for us to forget this by kind of giving us a showpiece, I think. But then again, you got to beat Hearts, and Hearts at the minute pretty decent side. Playing good football.
Really? Pretty decent side. I think they're just average at best. They're a lower league football team.
Yeah, but so are we. We're an average side at the minute. And we're
but with the players we've got at our disposal, we should be taking about 6 of them.
Should be, Jason. But how confident do you
feel? I know, but that's down to Ronnie Dyle.
Yeah. I would ask for a lineup. What's the fucking point at this stage? We all know who you'd want to see on the pitch against Hearts, right? But who are we going to see? I just have no idea.
Well, the other thing that's bothering me, Joe, is we just seem to have an incredible amount of players who are just always injured. Like Matthews and Lustig and Forrest, all great players, but they're always injured. Matthews, he seems if Forrest wasn't at the football club, Matthews would be getting a lot of stick in there because he is always injured. The guy's been with us 2-3 years now, and the amount of games he's played is pathetic for a young player like that. You know what I mean? And you just start thinking, these would all be assets in our team, because clearly Lustig would plug the Ambrose gap. Forrest has got fantastic pace, and in this league, you got pace, you'll beat anybody. And Matthews, can play left or right back, but they're always injured. And you just it's almost this thing they disappear for the ether where. It's not even a case of journalists even asking are they going to be fit this week because they just know they're not going to be. Yeah, but and that worries me. I must admit,
it worries me as well, Paul. You're right there. Those guys been injured, and that is frustrating and very disappointing. But the drop off in quality when people like that are injured is probably a bit scarier.
As Jason said, to me, if our attitude's right on Wednesday, we shouldn't have a problem at all. Hertz, they've won every game bar one this season in the league. They got hammered by Livy in the cup, whatever. But the reality is, even Hertz will tell you, they've not played a 90 minutes yet, in the sense that they've played good for 60 minutes, 70 minutes, and then they've tailed off. So you would go to think our superior fitness and things like that would do it. But I have to say as well, this fitness of the Celtic team really worries me because we just didn't seem to be able to it just seems to be a lot of guys really leggy all the time. You're playing against a Motherwell team that's won 2 games this season, had a really bad start. There was no golf whatsoever. At no point were we getting the better of them because of fitness or anything like that. And you just think, you've had a grip of these guys now for 3 months. You should have them all fit like by now, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think as well, you're right about it doesn't seem to be any sort of sustained pressure to be able to, they don't seem to grapple with any sort of sustained pressure in the game. There's flits and spurts of when you're like, oh fuck, here we go. We're gonna up the tempo here. It's gonna get, and then just like, it just kind of sort of plateaus off into nothing.
Do you know it's got to the stage that we've got young Callum McGregor, who's a work in progress, right? And he's done excellent for come in, but we're sort of pinning all our eggs in him. He's not the guy that's going to make a difference. And you just say to yourself, you get kind of seasoned pros out there, and you're like, what the hell are you doing? You know, and it just seems it's an absolute rabble. You know, I just can't get my head around, because I thought it's this probing game, but he's still playing the attacking wing backs, and then he's saying, I'm totally confused. I'm totally confused to what the guy's trying to achieve. I don't know. I'm losing the will to fucking live when I'm watching them.
I mean, to me, it's like when we're going up, the final third of the pitch, it's this shifting the ball from side to side constantly. There's never anybody running. There's never anybody taking a shot. And all you're doing is just saying to your defence, right, just you get yourself in your position, keep your discipline. You're not going to lose a goal here unless somebody pings it. And then, of course, we've stepped up, 3 times on Saturday, second half, Sunday, free kicks, fucking hell, you'd be well substituting me to come on and take them. I mean, they're fucking useless. Absolutely useless.
See, when you've got Skepovic or whatever, you've got, like, say you have got a forward that's a right centre forward, they're not getting any service. Because our midfielders, they're not threading through balls to them or anything for that, you know, and it's like, the guys can be making runs, but somebody's cutting inside. We McGregor, he's not got that in his arsenal, you know, the through ball. So when he gets the ball, cuts inside, tries to have a shot. If they keep playing him out, all he does is cut inside, then he's eventually cutting outside, because they just shepherd him out. He is a great wee player, but as I say, he's still learning his trade.
Yeah, I'd say it, and because he keeps cutting inside, you say to yourself, well, where's the width coming for then?
Yeah.
Because you're playing against packed defences in this league every week, you've got to stretch them as often as possible. I thought that's what he was wanting to do with bringing wingers in, but Tonev, I mean, he doesn't look like he'd stretch a rubber band, to be quite honest. He just, we could talk blinding pace and all that. I mean, you kidding me on here? He never went past one man. And there was 2 or 3 occasions you could just see Ezagiri looking at him saying, what are you doing? You've got to be fucking up and at it, and Ezagiri effectively sort of literally, in fact, shoved him aside and just said, get out of the way, I'll take over this wing. And of course he gets substituted at half time.
Yeah, and Ezagiri has actually been playing very well. I mean, because he's more or less doing 2 jobs.
Mm.
And he had a good shot there as well on the weekend. I think he had it straight the keeper. But Jesus. I suppose we just gotta wait and see in terms of Wednesday night.
How long do you think Paul will give him? Say we keep stuttering the kind of way we are at the minute. Say, for instance, we beat Hearts, we beat them 2-1 or whatever. And then St Mirren away, say we draw with St Mirren. And in Europe, first European home game, say we get another draw. So how long does it go until Law makes a decision and deal with his future, or do you think he's nailed on to get a year minimum?
Well, Jason, I think, we're all keen students say Lawwell on this show, and I think the minute a Champions League place got threatened, the bullet would be fired. Simple as that. Because that is, we're in a position where we need Champions League football at this football club to pay the wages we pay. And, I mean, you see the figures here. One of the things that startled me, we brought in 13 million quid in merchandise money, which you think, you know what, in this climate, Scotland, that's not bad. We spent 8 million quid making that fucking 13 million quid. So 5 million quid in merchandise, it's nothing. Christ, Man U fucking probably make that in 2 weeks. So if you're any threat whatsoever, if we were sitting 3, 4, 5, 6 points behind somebody at the top of the league come February, I think Law will just be like, boom, get him out and get somebody experienced in. A lot of people have asked me, and I don't know the answer, if Dyler was to go, would it immediately go to John Collins? To be honest with you, I don't know. I really don't know. But what I've noticed is, and I don't know what it is, there doesn't seem to be a lot of communication between Collins and Dyler when the games are going on.
I've noticed that myself.
I'm partly blaming John Collins for this, because he's got to take his share of responsibility. He's part of Delia's team, you know. And we said at the start, I don't think he's the easiest guy to like. I don't know, but I don't know.
What I'll say is, I'll ask somebody who knows him very well, played with him, and I said, why is it that so many people have a sort of general idea about John Collins? And he said, quite simply, it's because he judges players by his own standard as a player.
Yeah, he's due to fail then, because that's...
Aye.
Alan Ball was one of the best England internationals, and Everton legend and all my mates. He's one of the iconic Everton players, and he was at an Everton do years ago before he died. God rest him. And he says, "How did you never make it as a manager?" He says, "Because I judged players and how I wanted them to play, and they couldn't, and I couldn't." And I think that's how Roy Keane can attack it as well.
I can see a thing.
Well, David Farrell, that used to play for Hibs, he's doing blogs and now good Celtic supporter. He done a blog this week where he said that he was playing. I think it was Oxford. He was playing for Mark Lawrenson was the manager, and Mark Lawrenson comes in the first day. He says, "Right, lads, we're going to train the Liverpool way. We're going to play the Liverpool way. We're going to eat the Liverpool way. We're going to do everything the Liverpool way." And the first few games they lose. And, you know, and he's turned to the players and he says, "I can't understand why this isn't working." And Farrell says, "Because it's no fucking Liverpool you're at, that's why."
Absolutely, you know, and it's like, I mean, no disrespect, but none of the players at Celtic Park could lace John Collins' boots.
No.
I'm including Scott Brown in that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And John Collins, Nick, he was super fit. I think at one point he said he had something like 4% body fat.
No.
And he's playing France or something like that, or some ridiculous amount of, like, he was super lean, like. And
Aye.
Sorry, Paul.
No,
I'm going to say something off my tangent.
No, I was just going to say that, you know, Collins at that time, you know, that was when he was doing the whole thing where it was like Dan Jackson was his roommate with Scotland, and fucking they'd be watching the telly or whatever, the adverts would come on, and he'd be like doing 50 press ups, you know, and then Jackson would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And eventually Jackson started doing it, and Jackson reckons that prolonged his career by about 5 years, taking that on board. But I think in the limited thing that I know about managers and how they manage players is that players have to know their limitations, and you have to always ask them never to go outside that. And if John Collins is saying, this is what... I mean, George Best said it as well. See, that's why I was never a manager, because I couldn't sit there and fucking tell players what to do and knowing they couldn't do it. And that seems to be the criticism of Collins, is that he expects what he was able to do. And as Jason said, I mean, there's no chance, is there?
See, I don't want to... See the minute, I'd just go to Dundee and buy Paul Hartley. Just give Dundee what they need and get Hartley in the now. Telling you, I would have him or Jackie McNamara right now instead of Dialer. I can't see it changing. I don't know. I just can't. I just can't see. I don't know what that guy's going to offer that Paul Hartley or Jackie McNamara couldn't bring his Celtic Park. And I don't think, see, being the manager of a Scottish team, I don't think you need to look farther outside of Scotland, because getting a top class European coach, what's the point? You know, what's the point? What are they going to bring? We're not, the market we're in, we're not going to be competing at Champions League level, at the top echelons of Champions League level, if we can get a run in the Europa League. And I really think Paul Hart, something about him, you know. And he knows Celtic, and he wasn't the most gifted player. But I always think it's guys like him that become great managers. See, like Jackie McNamara as well, he was a good player. You know, but I always think it's good players that become great managers. See, as long as they know a bit about football and they've studied the game, and I just think Hartley's, I don't know, I think he's got some. I do, and I'm about totally miles out with this, but that's what I would do now. I've kind of had enough of Dialer.
What about the? I mean, Neil Lennon kind of had a bit of a sort of jab at him. Was it the weekend there? Mentioned about like players not being fit. And I didn't mention Dialer by name, but he kind of made it quite clear what he was talking about in terms of, like, you know.
I'd rather Neil Lennon kept his mouth shut, to be honest with you, today with Celtic.
But part of me thinks, Jason, as much as a Celtic man as he is, part of me thinks he's kind of looking at this with a wee kind of a smirk on his face with regards to Law and you know, the other bigwigs in terms of like him leaving, and you know, but I say part of them's kind